Killjoy has been one of my mains in Valorant ever since she got released, and since then, I have made videos covering the best setups and lineups for Killjoy on each of the maps in Valorant, and now it's time to bring that series to a close. So here's the Complete Killjoy Guide for Haven. First, we'll start with A site. The first turret placement I want to show you on A site is facing towards a short on top of these double stacked boxes, right on the very edge. This turret will be able to see around this wall's corner and right into this doorway in A short. It won't, however, be able to see further back into this room because of the height of the door, but to actually get onto site, they'll have to go through this doorway, so the turret will be able to see them. This turret can't, however, see anything from A long, so this gives you a perfect opportunity to use your alarm bot. There's a couple different places for you to put it here for it to be effective. The first one I'm going to show you is right on the edge of this corner, coming in from A long. Alternatively, I like to place it a little bit further back and more defensively, around this area. As long as the corner of the box on the top right touches the circle, and the wall on the left touches the circle, there will be no way for them to get onto site without this alarm bot detecting them. Because it's further back, it's also more difficult to hear and see before they enter onto site, so it's a little bit more difficult to anticipate. If you want to really lock down A long, you can place your turret facing towards you in this corner. This way the turret and the alarm bot will go off at roughly the same time right as they enter onto site. That way the turret can tag them while they're weakened from the alarm bot. If you want a similar effect but in the opposite, you can place your turret facing towards you in this corner instead. Both of these turrets will be able to see people coming out of A long and A short as they enter site. The next turret placement I want to show you starts by placing it facing towards you, looking down A long. This will get a similar effect from the other turret except A long instead of A short. It'll be able to see them right as they come out of the main area in A long and as they start to enter onto site. This turret can't, however, see anything from A short, so this is where you should use your alarm bot. Once again, there's a few different places you can put it. A pretty common one I see people use is right into this right corner, and then a swarm grenade in this left corner. This will be able to get them right as they've passed through this doorway. And because this corner is a little deeper than most, it's a little bit more difficult to shoot out this alarm bot. And because it has an opposing corner, you can use a swarm grenade right next to it. Another good spot for your alarm bot, and the one that I use more often, is placing it at the top of this slope. The other one I showed you can't actually be used until after the round starts because of the barriers that exist in the buy phase. But this one, you can put right away, allowing you to set up quicker. You can then place a swarm grenade here, and stall anyone trying to push up through A short. The last turret placement I want to show you is inside of Heaven on the left side of this window. This will be able to see fully down A long, and as they come out of A short. I like this one especially during pistol round to get that early poke damage on the enemies. Because it's also half covered, it's a little bit more difficult to shoot out. If you're looking to use your ultimate while defending A site, I suggest placing it in this corner. It's pretty well hidden, and it will cover most, if not the entire site. If someone is holding in the back of the site, you can stand on top of these boxes, right on the edge of this line, find where this black mark is on this building and aim at the bottom of it, and throw. If someone's holding in this corner, you can line yourself up with the wooden beam on the edge of this wall, aim in the little crack in the leaves right here, and throw. If you want to use your ultimate on A site, I suggest taking control of A short and placing it in this corner. This will cover almost the entire site, with just a few pockets for the enemies to go to, where you can easily check and kill them. If you're playing Killjoy and you get stuck playing on mid, I suggest a good turret placement is on top of these boxes, facing towards the main doorway. This will be able to see them from a high angle as soon as they enter onto the site. Now, because there's really only one way to get onto B, except for these two areas on the side which you should have teammates covering anyway, the only area you really need to worry about is right in the middle. If you want a different angle, but a similar outcome, placing it on this side also works. No matter which one you choose, I suggest placing an alarm bot at this front entrance on one of the edges of the doorway, like this, and then a swarm grenade on the opposing side. If you want to get earlier information than those other two turrets, I suggest placing your turret on top of this box in the middle, facing out. Pretty simple, but there's not a whole lot of options when it comes to turret placements on B site. If you want your turret to be a little more hidden but a similar angle, placing it on top of this wooden barrier will allow it to see over the main metal box just by a little bit, so we'll be able to see them as they jump out of window in mid. If you're looking to play a little bit more defensively on B site with your alarm bot placement, I suggest placing it just further back, right in front of this main area. That way it'll get them as soon as they enter and when they go for the plant. You then have one swarm grenade here on the left, and then one swarm grenade here on the right. If you need to use your ultimate to defend B site, I suggest going back to spawn and finding this wall and placing it here. This will cover the entire site and the sides of it, leaving only one place for the enemies to go where you can easily pick them off. If you're using your ultimate to attack B site, I suggest taking control of garage and placing in one of these two corners. The further back in garage you can get it, the more effective it'll be. Now we'll move on to C site, which is what I consider Killjoy's best site on this map. The first setup starts by placing your turret on top of these double stacked boxes facing C long. This will be able to see enemies right as they're exiting C long and entering onto site. This turret, however, gives no information on garage, so I would recommend using your alarm bot in here. Once again, there's many places you can use your alarm bot here for it to be effective. The first one I want to show you gives you the earliest information by placing it in front of this wooden beam to cover the doorway. The second one is right in the middle here. Just make sure that the top left corner of that box and the top right corner of that wall both touch the circle so they can't actually take garage without your alarm bot going off. If you do want to get earlier though, in front of this wooden beam for the doorway is also a safe bet. No matter what setup I'm running on C site, I always have a swarm grenade in one of these two locations, right in the middle or right on the edge of this doorway. The one in the middle will be able to cover the whole garage, delaying any push from there, and the one on the doorway will cover the whole doorway, delaying any push from there or even splitting the team. The next setup I want to show you starts by placing your turret facing towards you right behind this box on this wall in garage. This will be able to see people as they enter into garage, but also be able to see people as they enter into site from C long. Now because this turret sees people pretty late coming out of C long, I suggest using your alarm bot here instead of only relying on your turret, placing it in one of the edges of these two corners or back a little bit so that the circle touches both the corners is a pretty safe bet. Now, because the way C-Site is set up and it's so open, it's really hard to find a position for your alarm bot any further back and any more defensively than this one, because you simply cannot cover all of the ways that they can go. So if you do want to play more defensively, just make sure that the circle touches both these corners on the edge of this entrance. If you are going with this turret placement and you do want to have something more defensive for your alarm bot, but a little bit risky, you can place it over here to catch people as they go for the plant. The turret will still be able to see them as they enter onto site, and the alarm bot would just be here to get them as they go to plant the spike. Along with the swarm grenade I always place in garage, I'll usually place one on one of these corners. A swarm grenade on either of these corners will be able to cover this whole entrance, delaying anyone trying to push through. If you want to use your swarm grenades more defensively to stop a plant, placing one here will cover default and if they try to plant for long. If you want your swarm grenade to cover a similar area but to be a bit safer, placing it here behind will cover about the same area but a little bit less, but they won't be able to shoot it out. The next turret placement I want to show you covers a similar angle as the last one, but just the opposite. If you place it right in front of this wooden beam, as you can see, it'll be able to see all the way into garage, and as they come into sight from C-Long. Finally, the last turret placement I want to show you is right on the corner of this platform. This turret will be able to see all the way down C-Long and catch them as they're entering C-Lobby from their spawn. The reason I like this turret placement over other ones for early information is because this one also is able to see people as they enter into garage. If you're using your ultimate to defend C-Site, I suggest finding this corner outside of garage and placing it here. If someone is holding this angle in the back of C-Site, go into this back corner in C-Lobby, put this area of your UI just above this fixing on the wall, jump and throw. If someone's holding this angle, you can go back into the same corner, put your UI above this fixing on the wall, and jump and throw. Jumping and throwing can be a little bit difficult, so I recommend practicing first. If you're attacking C and you want to use your ultimate, the best place I found is this front left corner in garage, leaving just a little bit in the back of sight for them to go to.